Greetings, YouTube. I read something the other day in a tweet, I think it was. It might have been from AOC, that was talking about defunding the police. Now, that's a catchphrase, and I've used it myself. And I do regularly use it, in fact. And people think that that means chaos. That means you don't want any cops. What it means is completely stripping the police of every aspect of their current job profiles that we don't need cops for. Taking the money out of the DEA, for example, and putting it into housing and to education, into health care, and into food programs, and making sure everybody in the community is happy and healthy and housed and educated, and is not being harassed by the police every day, is not being stopped just because they're driving while black, that kind of thing. And the comment was about, what does a community look like when you have defunded the police? And the answer is, it looks like a white suburb. And why are people saying that? Why is that true? Because a white suburb has resources other than a police department that has a huge amount of funding. I'm not saying that the police force doesn't have funding, it does. And I'm not saying even in those communities the police force may be asked to do things and handle things that they shouldn't, that could be handled by social workers and EMTs and crisis teams that could deal with issues, or just form takers, like when my house got broken into and the pipe stolen. I didn't need a cop. I just needed someone to come fill out a form so I could file it with my insurance company. That's all. I didn't need a guy with a gun. Okay? So, yeah, when I was in a car accident, I didn't need a guy with a gun for that. Just a traffic officer shows up without a gun and just fills the forms out. I file it with the proper people, and our lives go on. Okay? But white communities have the resources they need to be lower crime and less policed than minority communities. They have good housing. They have good health care. They have good education system. Everybody's fed. They have after-school programs. And they have senior programs. And they have libraries and parks. The things that we deny minority groups, and roll all of that money into more cops with riot gears and assault weapons and tanks and water cannons and shields and clubs. And if you think that environment is going to foster a healthy community, you're delusional. You don't see that in the white suburbs for a reason. That's why they're so nice and quiet and nice and ordered. Because everybody has what they need to survive. Not to mention they're sitting on a pile of cultural cash gained from the oppression of all minority groups. Yeah, they don't like to talk about that part. So we know what communities look like when they have a police force that's been defunded. We see them right now. They're everywhere in America. But we deny minority groups that because it's convenient to push the white narrative. It's convenient to maintain the status quo. People would rather build prisons than affordable housing, rather build prisons than fund schools properly. Say, to fund schools in a way other than property taxes, because poorer communities have lower property taxes, which means they have lower amounts of money for their students, which means their students get screwed. While the rich communities have lots of tax dollars to go to their kids, and those kids get a boost, a jump start on their education from the moment they're born. Their parents are trying to get them into prestigious preschool programs. They're getting them tutors. They can't even get books to some of the schools in minority communities. There's black mold on the walls and ceilings. So we know what a defunded community looks like. And it's just that most white Americans don't want to face the fact that they have forced minority groups into living into places they would never go. They would never live. If you wouldn't live in any neighborhood in America, maybe you should do something to vote for the people who will make sure that those types of neighborhoods get what they need so that every neighborhood is safe and healthy. Every neighborhood has the resources it needs and doesn't just have an occupying army.